them with a crime at all. They just let them go.
A family trip interrupted by a hit and run.
And they still strike my vehicle down the driver's side. So our two driver's sides can connect. And I'm off on the road stopping, and they stop in the middle of the road, and then they just took off driving.
Aaron Bradshaw, an Arkansas resident who visited Oklahoma last year, says if he didn't drive after the person who hit him and called 911, police would never have pulled over the person responsible. Bradshaw says that other driver was eventually pulled over by police in the town of Kansas, and Oklahoma Highway Patrol showed up to the scene.
And that's where the video starts. You can see OHP pulling up behind a Kansas police officer, stopped behind a vehicle who's missing the mirror, and that's the other person. That's who struck us.
Yes, sir.
Okay, were you driving?
No, sir.
No? Why were you driving when the cops got here? When did y'all switch?
We switched after we got here.
After he pulled you over? Okay. All right, man. I appreciate your honesty.
That's usually an indication or something that's a little bit untoward, or something that gives you suspicion of why someone would switch seats once the police get involved.
Tulsa lawyer Grant Thetford looked at the dashcam video and gave me his thoughts.
The other kind of odd thing, normally when you see police field sobriety tests, you see them done right in front of the police vehicles, right in front of the dash cams.
As for the suspicion of alcohol with the driver who hit Bradshaw, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol says that field sobriety tests were given at the scene and there wasn't any probable cause to make an arrest. Bradshaw, who worked in law enforcement in Arkansas, says he didn't see any sobriety tests conducted. Thetford says looking at the video, it's unclear whether they provided a sobriety test or not. Bradshaw says that though it was marked as a hit and run, the other party received no penalty. I asked OHP why, and they said it was because both parties couldn't identify where they were hit.
All right, thanks, Steve. Horrific outright lie. That's the phrase used 6 times in a lawsuit filed against the state of New York by the family of James D'Elia. In the midst of a mental health crisis, D'Elia was shot to death during a police stop in a Saratoga Springs church parking lot in September, a tragedy that began as a wellness check. CBS 6's Tom Esham was the first to speak to the family about that day, and he joins me live in the studio right now. So, Tom, we got lawsuits here, and things are happening in this case.
There's 4 of them between his wife and his 3 daughters. Here they are right here, big stack of paper, as you can see. Each suing the state, Greg, $6.5 million in damages for each lawsuit. They say they were lied to, weren't given an apology, and have suffered severe emotional distress because of what happened.
Why lie to us and tell us that he's in custody and going for help, and let us have that false belief that he's okay for all that time to find out.
James D'Elia was shot to death just before 4 p.m. on September 11th. His wife, Melissa, says she was told just a few minutes later he was in custody and being taken to a hospital for a mental health evaluation and locked up for 72 hours. In the lawsuit she and her daughters filed against the state, they call it a horrific, outright lie. The lawsuit spells out how D'Elia's daughters say they then called hospitals to see where he was being taken as another texted him. This going on for more than an hour after he was killed.
Around 6:50-ish, I got a call from a family friend that told me that my father was deceased, and I did not believe him because I had been told from the New York State Troopers that my father was in custody.
The family says the state was negligent in continuing to employ the man who shot the gun, Brian Randolph, without a mental health evaluation. Randolph went on voluntary leave, then went back to work, and then retired not too long ago. Randolph had 9 use of force incidents from the year 2000 to 2020.
We want to change with how mental health is handled. They need to come up with a new system so that way you can know that if you do call the police for help, that you can possibly have the chance of making that family member home that day.
That's why they're advocating for Daniel's Law, too. The task force for that just wrapping up their last meeting before issuing a report for potential actions to be taken.
We're recommending standardized protocols to do risk assessments so that we're sure that police involvement is minimized and utilized only in the most significant in situations.
Good morning, and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m., bright and early right here at home on the range, and thank you so much for being here today, folks. We're going to start it out in El Paso, and we're having a look at this El Stupido from El Paso. Look at this guy. Kind of feel bad when you see these old deputies getting busted. Not really, but almost no matter what they do is like a life sentence, I mean, any substantial amount of time for a 63-year-old Ivan Sundhelm. You know what I mean? Okay, but that happened on December 12th, 2024. Said 63-year-old Ivan Sundhelm, a former deputy sheriff with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, was arrested by the Harris County Sheriff's Office in Spring, Texas, and booked into the Harris County Jail, where he's being held without bond. Oh, he's living in jail now. He's charged with human trafficking and involuntary servitude, a Class 3 felony. Life sentence. These allegations were reported to the El Paso County Sheriff's in May of 2024, and an in-depth investigation into the allegation led to an arrest warrant which was issued on December 12th. The alleged incident took place during Sundhelm's employment with the El Paso County Sheriff's Office. Oh. As this is an active investigation, we will not provide further comments regarding the case. We don't get to know what this goofball did. Okay, he looks pretty guilty. Anyways, thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. Now, on with the show.
Like red ants stinging the bottom of my feet when they was hitting me.
Right now at 10, a North Texas man is suing Dallas police claiming excessive force when officers hit the bottom of his feet with a baton more than 100 times during his arrest. Welcome in at 10, I'm JD Miles. In part 2 of a CBS News Texas exclusive, our Marvin Hurst sits down with Cedric Cheeley, who says he's frustrated that those officers no longer face any punishment.
I tell jokes for a living. And my life is like, I'm free.
Cedric Cheeley is on the side of Dallas Police Sergeant John Matthew Martinez's police cruiser. He's not under arrest.
I'm all right.
Well, you don't want to drive intoxicated. There's too many police out here. You might go to jail.
Intoxicated.
Huh?
They are talking about his sobriety at this far north Dallas strip mall. Minutes before, police were rushing to that Dallas Parkway parking lot for reports of an active shooter. The call was after 2 a.m. on April 11th, 2022.
I bet I say ain't nobody shooting.
None was found in videos obtained by CBS News Texas or by police that morning. It was an alleged fight.
You don't have to go home, but you can't be here.
Unseen by officers, but enough for them to clear the parking lot.
Are you willing to go home right now and not come back?
Cheeley says he lived within walking distance, so officers advised him to take that stroll and not drive. A debate over that ballooned into an intense arrest for public intoxication.
Oh, you want to play this?
Cheeley hit the ground for some reason. 2 Dallas police sergeants and 2 officers had to put him in the back of a police car.
My hips don't work like that, bro.
Cheeley told officers repeatedly about surgically placed pins in his hips that made it difficult for him to ride in the back of a police car. And he'd gladly go to jail in a paddy wagon.
My hips don't work like that. You're gonna go to jail.
Officers put him in anyway. So when they rolled down the window, the 47-year-old says that he put his feet outside to stretch his legs for comfort. The effort to push his feet back in the car got met with swings from the police baton of Sergeant Martinez.
Watch out. All right. Get your foot inside, man. Get your foot inside. Get your foot inside. Get your foot inside. Get your foot inside.
Why are you hitting me?
Because you won't put it in. Put your foot in.
You ain't got no right to hit me.
Put your foot in. You're not listening.
You have no right to hit me.
I do.
No, you don't.
You're not listening.
No.
Painful. I got nerve damage from being beaten, which was going to last me for the rest of my life.
For the first time, Cheeley is talking about an encounter he and his attorney describe as excessive.
And that was the whole issue. Like, why are you hitting me? I'm in the car. I'm going to go to jail. What threat am I to you? Why are you beating me?
Dallas police investigators say Cheeley got hit on his feet 133 times as he asked for a different supervisor to come to the parking lot.
Feet in the car. Feet in the car.
Disbelief. And it's painful. It felt like red ants stinging the bottom of my feet when they was hitting me.
At that morning scene, Martinez with the baton, Sergeant Jesse Rodriguez, arresting officers Adnan Shaw and Randy Roden.
But 133 times, and not one of these officers looked at this and said, hey, you need to stop
Feet in the car.
doing what you're doing. Not one of them intervened. And that's a major problem.
Police investigators say Cheely's feet were left hanging out the window as they took him to jail. 9 months later, an internal affairs investigation revealed the officers wrote about everything that happened at the scene, except the use of force.
And the reason why that report is so important, because we get to see what was this officer's reasons for hitting somebody 133 times.
Dallas police leaders gave all 4 written reprimands for transporting a prisoner improperly. Martinez's reprimand came as their supervisor.
Hey, what's in it?
Martinez was rebuked for inappropriate use of force and failing to complete what DPD calls a response to resistance report. He even signed off on it, smearing a record of 41 commendations. That was on January 17th, 2023.
It's hurtful. I tried to read it, and it makes me mad. It makes me frustrated.
7 days later, Assistant Police Chief Michael Igo, now interim DPD chief, changed everything for 3 of the officers in the improper prisoner transport. His letter states, quote, "After careful review of the investigation and related videos, it is my decision to rescind the chain of command recommendation," end quote.
Yeah, this is an interesting case of an alleged weirdo, former Oakland County Sheriff's deputy accused of filming family member to stand trial. Okay. A former Oakland County Sheriff's deputy will stand trial after a Livingston County judge found there was evidence he filmed a family member in an exual way. Weirdo. Joseph Pierre Fortier. Pierre Fortier, age 47, will appear January 17th before Livingston County trial judge Matthew McGivney on 3 counts of surveilling an unclothed person and 1 count of eavesdropping. Weirdo. Allegedly, he faces up to 5 years in prison on all 4 felony charges. His case was sent to trial by the county's 53rd District Court Judge Shauna Murphy. After a preliminary examination December 2nd, Murphy ruled November 19th that Fortier was competent to stand trial, even though he sure sounds like an insane weirdo to me, allegedly, following his referral for psychiatric evaluation in June. Okay. Under Michigan law, defendants are presumed competent to stand trial unless an examination shows otherwise. The former deputy was charged after a family member filed a complaint with Michigan State Police in November of 2023, alleging cameras were filming without their knowledge, according to Lieutenant Renee Gonzalez, Michigan State Police spokesperson. Well, the incident occurred in Livingston County, Osceola Township, east of Howell, police said. The recordings were of a exual nature, Gonzalez wrote in an email. Fortier was employed by the Oakland County Sheriff's Office from August 2014 to March 2024. Had a little career going on there, did you, Fortier? According to information obtained by the Michigan blah, blah, blah. Okay. Charges were authorized March 5th, according to the court records. Wow, 40 years employment ended March 6th. At the time, he was a sergeant, according to documents from the sheriff's office. Fortier was arraigned in April and was given a personal recognizance bond. Well, so his trial's just about to start. That's amazing. How embarrassing. Okay, on with the show.
Why? Get out the vehicle. No, stop. Get out the vehicle. Get out the vehicle. Stop. No, stop. Why?
BART police released new video today from a shooting last month when an officer fired at a woman who was being questioned in a parking lot. The police body camera video shows a scuffle between the driver and the officers just before the shooting. BART police says it released the entire video for transparency. We have decided not to air the most graphic parts, but KTVU's Jana Katsuyama breaks it all down.
Roll down your windows, please.
BART police released officers' body camera video showing the incident at the Union City BART parking lot around 9 p.m. Monday, November 18th.
Right, someone said that a car matching this description was doing donuts in this parking lot.
The video shows 2 officers responding to the call about a reckless driver. Police say they stopped 32-year-old Jasmine Gao in a gray Chevy matching the description.
I don't know how to drive that good.
Yeah, tires are good.
The officers say goodnight, but then come back, saying they need her registration and insurance cards. She says she has them at home. And as they talk, she snatches back her ID, and then there's a scuffle.
Stop, that's my ID. Stop, I just, here, no, stop.
Get out the vehicle.
No, stop. I don't want you to.
The video shows the struggle between Gao and the two officers. One says he's going to pepper spray her.
Stop, you're scaring me. Stop.
Ma'am, stop.
You're scaring me.
Ma'am, I'm gonna shoot. Ma'am. 3-1 shots fired.
Gao's car rolls away and then stops. Officers take her out of the car. According to police records, a detective says Officer Nicholas Poblete, who has 6.5 years of service for BART, said his left arm was wedged between the driver's side window and the door frame and that he was afraid of being dragged. BART police say he fired 3 shots when she started to drive away. On the video, you see blood covering her shirt as officers try to administer medical aid.
Help me, call my mom.
We went to Gao's home, but no one answered the door. A neighbor said there have been times when she was disruptive in the neighborhood and seemed to have mental health issues, but she was never violent.
She's always been very pleasant with me. She tells me a lot of crazy stuff, but she's never been overly hostile towards me. So when I heard about it, it was pretty shocking, to be honest.
BART says that they have sent charges over to the district attorney's office, but none have been filed yet. The officer is on administrative leave, and the police chief says that he is having a third-party investigator look into the incident. Reporting from Union City BART Station, Jana Katsuyama, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Okay, here's a story that should make your blood boil. At least those of you who know and love Carolina in Fort Worth. Carolina in Fort Worth is one of our favorite YouTubers and a great First Amendment auditor. Her name is Caroline Rodriguez, and she was sentenced to 30 days in jail in order to pay a $750 fine for that incident that we all witnessed. That made her look like that. Just for talking to the cops. A North Texas woman who posts videos of her encounters with police to YouTube and was hospitalized after an officer forcibly arrested her earlier this year was sentenced to 30 days and a $750 fine. A jury found Caroline Rodriguez guilty of interference with public duties, and our partners at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram report not guilty of making a false report. Okay. Rodriguez filed a notice of appeal. Police said Rodriguez approached officers as they were investigating a hit-and-run crash at the blah, blah, blah. An officer asked Rodriguez to move across the street, police said, and a body camera footage released later showed an officer telling her she'd be arrested if she didn't. The body camera footage showed Rodriguez questioning police before the officer tells her she's under arrest and reaches to handcuff her. She could be heard saying no, no, no before the officer tells her to stop resisting and throws her to the pavement. We all saw that happen in a matter of seconds. Okay, Rodriguez previously said she was knocked unconscious during the altercation. She sustained multiple injuries during the arrest and was taken to the hospital for treatment, according to a police statement. And that's why they prosecuted her. Okay, in my opinion. All right, the Fort Worth Police Department launched an investigation into the incident, including the use of force by the officer earlier this year. And of course, he was found with, Fort Worth Police said shortly after the incident that the officer, who was not identified, was reassigned out of a patrol unit pending the outcome of the investigation. Well, we all know about old officer, I think it was, whatever it was, Duggan. Anyways, whatever it was, we don't like him. His name is Mud to us. Of course, I can't remember his name, but we love Carolina. She's probably sitting in jail, and that's not cool. Okay. All right, let's move on with the show.
Tragedy in Beaverton. Investigators trying to find out why a father who was a state prison guard allegedly shot and killed his 16-year-old daughter, then himself. At 11 o'clock, I'm Jeff Gianola. This horrific incident happened yesterday morning at the Baseline Woods apartment complex. Ariel Yacobazi was there earlier this evening and has the chilling details.
We don't know much at this point, as investigators are still working to learn more. But what they do tell us is they were called to this area for a welfare check on Wednesday morning. We're also told by investigators the man involved in this tragic incident was arrested for DUI on Monday.
This is a really nice, fairly new neighborhood.
A normally quiet neighborhood, the scene of a violent crime Wednesday.
I knew something was up, but I didn't know what was going on. And then when I came back and walked my dogs over here, their forensic team was over here. I was like, oh man, something major must have happened.
Horrific. I mean, really shocks the conscience is the word that I've been thinking about today to describe it.
Deputy David Huey with the Washington County Sheriff's Office, one of the first on the scene here at the Baseline Woods apartment complex.
Deputies responded to a welfare check, which is a pretty routine call for us.
He says when they got there, they found 16-year-old Larissa Alexander next to her father, 45-year-old Nicholas Alexander. Deputies believe Nicholas first shot Larissa, eventually turning the gun on himself.
This is extremely rare. This is the first one of these that I've encountered.
Coin 6 confirming with the Oregon Department of Corrections, Nicholas worked for the state penitentiary back in 2015, eventually moving to Coffee Creek Correctional Facility the following year. But he was placed on administrative leave in October.
I think that's the first time that we've been to that apartment that I'm aware of, aside from maybe some other police interactions that the father has had at other instances.
Detective Huey later confirming with us, Nicholas was arrested for DUII on Monday. Larissa was a junior at Century High School. The school releasing a statement to families Thursday morning saying, quote, "This is a terrible tragedy and our hearts are heavy," also offering support to their students and staff.
We should be aggressive about making improvements, and we should be focused on improving public safety.
The promise to move the city forward with federal oversight of the Louisville Metro Police Department. After the announcement Thursday, Bishop Dennis Lyons and other pastors met with the mayor.
What happened today in Louisville, this is how important this is.
Longtime community movers and shakers watched with skepticism.
It was almost like the same old song that we've been hearing.
In a separate meeting, the mayor talked with ministers.
So this gave us a little bit more confidence that it is working in our favor.
Bishop Dennis Lyons holds the bishop's table every Friday morning with the public and law enforcement, something he started as the city was divided during the protests of 2020.
You think from what you see here, they're actually going to carry it out?
I think they will carry it out if we as a community monitor, minister, and maintain and motivate them.
It should, show itself that we're doing a good job here. And a lot of what we did and a lot of what's in this agreement is really built around the things that we've already started to put in place.
Police Chief Paul Humphrey speaking on changes made in the department before the consent deal was signed.
I feel like we have a good chief right now, and I want to put trust in him and let him do his job, and hopefully it comes out in the right way.
State Representative Republican Jason Nemes still digesting the 242-page document.
It's a good deal to make sure that our police department is reforming or continuing to reform. They have been making some reforms while at the same time giving them the freedom to do their job, which is to keep our people safe.
Nemes says the past can be traced to one place.
And I've always trusted LMPD. I haven't trusted LMP leadership. The LMP leadership has not honored their members and the officers on the street because they've been largely incompetent for the recent few years.
Bishop Lyons, meanwhile, is pushing forward.
If we are able to solidify the decree, it'll open up the door for us to move forward.
In Louisville, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 on your side.
All right, that's it for the show. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really do appreciate it. And I'm going to whip up another batch of bad apples just for you. It's true. And I hope to see you right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Have a great day.